the west of the British Isles, the Atlantic winds blow over the hills and lakes of Eire. Cork, Kildare and Limerick, Galway, Wicklow and Tipperary. Green counties of white farms and tiny cottages, of rain-washed villages with straggling streets, counties rich in milk, butter, eggs and cheese. Separated from the industrial Ulster counties, the Free State tries to make the most of its own meagre industrial resources. In a coalless land, modern machinery harvests Ireland's traditional fuel, peat from her deep and marshy bogs. Living by the land, Eire's people were dependent upon the markets of industrial Britain. But for many, the old hates and fears of Britain still smoulder. For liberty has been so recently and so dearly won. Dublin, a city of wide streets and stately buildings. In strange contrast, memorials to Britain's great still stand on the very battlefields of Irish liberty. From his pillar, Nelson looks down upon O'Connell Street, scene of bitter fighting in the 1916 Easter Rising. The Four Courts, where in 1922 the diehards made their last stand. Once the Free State flag hid furtively in back street cellars. Today it flies freely from the mast of the government building. But for the Irish, it seemed this was not enough. At the very moment when the Commonwealth called for closer unity, Eire sought to break away. Prime Minister Costello and his government moved to repeal the External Relations Act. Through Eire's Parliament, the Dáil, the motion was carried, and Eire was officially designated a republic. A proud people had made their choice. But for Eire, the ties of Commonwealth were down to a slender thread. Between the crowded island of Manhattan and the Golden Gate lie 48 states. Each state has its own administration, but all form one union. And once every 4 years, this union elects its president. To the old world, with its traditional methods, electioneering in America seems little short of March Madness. The party conventions assume the atmosphere of college rag. Praise, persuasion, and publicity. Pretty girls, gifts of nylons, and free beer. All the good old American methods of ballyhoo. Off on a special train went the Democratic candidate, the homely, mild Harry S. Truman. On a rival special was the Republican's choice, the sleek ex-police chief Thomas E. Dewey. The candidates were going out to the people. The only other major rival was the Progressive Party leader, Henry Wallace.
I have made commitments. I have made them freely. I shall abide by them.
But the real race was between Truman and Dewey. Across the continent went the rival trains. Dozens of stops, hundreds of speeches, thousands of words. At the state capitals and in the great cities, at hundreds of little towns and whistle stops, the people heard their oratory. In the deep south, the middle west, on the Pacific coast, the people cheered, listened, and took stock. For Harry Truman, the press and polls prophesied certain defeat, a little man without a chance. For Dewey, they estimated an overwhelming victory. And Dewey was confident and very sure.
Tonight, we enter upon a campaign to unite all America.
On January 20, we will enter on a new era.
Although assessed only as a runner-up, Truman too was confident, but it was a quiet confidence born of faith in the people.
I'm not asking you just to vote for me. Vote for yourselves. Vote for your farms. Vote for the standard of living that you've won under a Democratic administration. Get out there on election day and vote for your future.
In 48 states, the people of America cast their votes. In the little towns, in the black factory areas and the skyscraping cities, it was up to the people. As night fell, the shouting and the tumult died. There was nothing to do but sit and wait. Then, in the early hours of morning, a trickle of results became a flood. And soon the whole world knew America's choice for president, America's choice for the White House. Back into Washington came the little man who hadn't a chance. Now president in his own right. So much for forecasts, so much for prophecies. The people had chosen for themselves. For that is the way of democracy.